Well, as Moda Center talks advance, city leaders and taxpayers want to know, what would the proposed $573 million in public funding pay for? Portland negotiators say they're waiting on the Blazers to provide details.
In 1995, a billionaire paid to build Portland an arena. Not the city, him. And the deal came with a promise. In 30 years, the building belongs to you. 30 years later, the city got the building. It's now looking at a $600 million bill, and the people paying it down include every visiting NBA player who steps on that floor. Nobody broke a rule. The promise was kept exactly as written. That's the problem.
How the team pitched lawmakers, state lawmakers, on a Moda Center upgrade. The team, through Rip City Management, sent documents outlining their new Moda Center vision.
Now here's where it stands. $600 million to renovate the Moda Center. $365 million of it state bonds. The rest, $235 million, from the city of Portland and Multnomah County. The bonds carry interest. Budget analysts put the real cost to the state somewhere between $530 and $625 million by the time they're paid off. And the team's ownership contribution written into the bill is nothing. The only money they're on the hook for is overruns past $600 million. Now here's the part that makes this a basketball story instead of a city budget story. Those state bonds get paid back out of income tax, collected from the team's players and staff, from vendors and performers at the arena, from the construction workers doing the renovation, and from visiting players. Every opponent who plays a game in Portland owes Oregon tax on the money he earned that night. And that money is now earmarked for the building he's playing in.
But you need to love this community if you're going to be here to have a big investment, and clearly it's a big investment for almost any way you measure it. And I think Portlanders need to know that you're invested not only financially but personally.
The projection is about $72 million in that next budget cycle. Money that was going to the state's general fund, schools, roads, everything else, now routed to the arena instead. 1995, Paul Allen owns the Trailblazers, and he does something almost nobody in professional sports does. He builds the arena himself. Total cost, $262 million. Allen puts in $46 million of his own money. $155 million comes from bonds, $16 million from bank loans, and the city of Portland's share is $34.5 million plus the land.
My family and I offer our thanks for your constant enthusiasm for this new arena and for the Portland Trailblazers.
Understand how good that was. A $262 million building, and the public share is about 13%. Years later, when the Blazers were pitching the state for renovation money, their own documents described Allen paying for his own arena as an outlier, not standard practice at the time, and no precedent for it now in a market Portland's size. So, this is not a city getting fleeced. This was a city getting the best arena deal of its era.
Sitting at a table with Paul Allen talking about technology is daunting, so I want to give a low-tech presentation.
From an owner who genuinely wanted to build something for the place he lived. And the ground lease that made it work ran 30 years, effective October 12, 1995, terminating October 11, 2025. At the end of it, the arena becomes the city's. Now listen to that as the city read it in 1995. We pay 13%. We get an arena for 30 years, and then we own it outright. That's not a trap, that's a win. Now here's what the lease didn't say. It did not require anyone to modernize the building before handing it over. It set a date and it set an owner. It said nothing about what condition the thing had to be in when the keys changed hands. So for 30 years the building aged. The Moda Center is now described by Portland and state officials as the oldest arena in the NBA that has never had a major renovation. In the summer of 2024, with the lease nearly up, the city acquired the arena and the last privately owned land under it, and signed a new operating lease with the team. And this is the mechanism. The moment the city owned it, the building's condition became the city's problem. Not a tenant's problem, not a landlord's problem, theirs. Because you can walk away from a lease. You cannot walk away from a building you own. Portland's own estimates make the point. Doing nothing doesn't make the cost disappear. Even just keeping the arena in roughly its current state in working order carries a bill. The city was promised the asset. The asset arrived exactly when it turned into a liability. Nobody lied. The fine print simply never said who keeps it standing. In 2008, Seattle would not pay for a new arena, so the Sonics left. That's supposed to be the cautionary tale. It's the argument every ownership group makes: pay or lose the team.
Ultimately, for the team to survive, it must have a new modern building.
And the city pays a price either way. Except we have the data now. Portland economist Joe Courtwright has pointed out that we effectively ran this experiment twice in the Pacific Northwest. Vancouver lost its NBA team in 2001, Seattle in 2009, and both cities went on to do fine economically. Losing an NBA franchise did not hollow either one out. And the broader research agrees. A 2023 review in the journal Economic Surveys looked at more than 130 studies going back to 1970 and concluded that the large subsidies routinely handed to sports venues are not justified as worthwhile public investments. The reason is something economists call substitution. Money spent at an arena is mostly money that would have been spent somewhere else in town. A restaurant, a concert, a movie, it moves. It doesn't multiply. That's the foil. Same league, same era, same threat. One city said no and survived it, which means the choice Portland faces isn't pay or die, it's a negotiation. And the leverage was always more even than it looked. Put the clock back up and watch the whole thing run. 1995, the arena opens, public share 13%. The next 3 decades, no comprehensive renovation. The building systems age toward the end of their useful lives. Seating, concourses, accessibility, rigging, event technology. 2024, the city takes ownership a year ahead of schedule and locks the team in through 2030. 2026, the state authorizes $365 million in bonds, contingent on the sale of the team closing and a 20-year lease being signed. That's the compounding. 30 years of maintenance nobody was contractually required to do, arriving in one invoice at the exact moment the city had no one left to hand it to. And there's one more thing the 1995 lease never accounted for. Every part of that original deal rested on an owner who wanted to be in Portland. Paul Allen didn't build that arena as a leverage play. He built it because he lived there and wanted the city to have it. Allen died in 2018. His estate put the team up for sale, and the buyer is a Texas investor with no history in Oregon and no reason to have any. Nothing about that is a scandal. It's ordinary, owners die, teams get sold, buyers act like buyers. But it means the leverage and the relationship completely inverted, and the lease had no answer for it.
Sports business platform Sportico was the first to report the estate of Paul Allen has agreed to sell the Blazers to Tom Dundon, current owner of the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes. Dundon heads a group of buyers that includes co-president of Blue Owl Capital, Mark Czar, and Portland-based CEO Shil Tile.
Because in 1995, nobody wrote a clause that said, what happens when the next guy doesn't care? The bill's own conditions tell you where the power sits. The state can't issue $1 of debt until the team sale is finalized, and the team commits to a long-term lease. The public money is waiting on the private decision. That's the shock nobody priced. Not a market crash, not a pandemic. A man passed away, and a 30-year-old contract had nothing to say about it. None of this is finished, and none of it is only Portland's. In San Antonio, county voters just approved raising the hotel occupancy tax to put up as much as $311 million toward a new Spurs arena, with the city contributing separately on top of that. Across the league, the pattern is not new. Of the 15 NBA arenas built since 1999, at least 8 were more than half publicly financed, and 7 of those 8 were at least 82% public money. Somewhere right now, a city is signing a 30-year deal that looks like the best arena arrangement of its era, and it might be. Portland's was. Now here's what the fine print actually did. It didn't cheat anybody. It set a date and a transfer, and it left out one sentence. Who keeps the building alive in the meantime? 30 years later, that missing sentence is worth $600 million, and it's being paid in part by the withholding on players' paychecks, including players who don't even play there. The city didn't lose because it negotiated badly, it lost because it negotiated for the wrong thing. It bargained for ownership and never asked what ownership would cost on the day it finally arrived. Every road in this sport leads back to a document somebody signed a long time ago and stopped reading. If the math is wrong, show us the document. This is Beyond the Buzzer.